community is doing now. Sasha.
Peter, when the swine flu virus first swept through St. Theresa Point last June, this community didn't know what hit it. 3,500 people live here, and at one point, most of them were sick. What a difference now.
Even aware of.
So what did people think when they started getting sick?
I got scared.
Band counselor Edward Flett remembers it well.
They got scared. They didn't know. All the information we had was what we hear on the news, and it is pretty scary when you hear stuff on the news when you're not even too sure yourself what it is.
About 25 people from the community have been airlifted to hospital with flu symptoms. 11 in the last.
That was just in the first couple of weeks. In all, more than 50 were sent to Winnipeg for emergency care, most with swine flu. Some never came home. So far, in this second wave, there hasn't been a single confirmed case here. People are still scared and vulnerable. Homes are still unbelievably crowded. Diabetes and heart disease still stalk the community. But the dread has been replaced with a determination to fight back. Sure, some have acquired immunity from having swine flu once.
I think so, yeah.
But Flett says more than that. This time, St. Theresa Point is ready.
I think that's the key thing, is just educating the community.
And what an education.
There's enough vaccine right now for 2,700 people, and there's more on the way.
Most in this community are taking no chances after a lesson no one could have imagined. Virtually everyone in St. Theresa Point got the flu vaccine, inspired by the dramatic story of the Harpers. Jane Harper is back home now, able to sing and play the guitar again. After months of recovery from the swine flu, she barely survived the ordeal. One day last May, she was here, pregnant and sick with the flu for weeks, when she woke up numb and afraid she was losing her baby.
I was feverish, headaches, coughing lots. I couldn't get comfortable. It was bad. I remember I couldn't breathe. I was really fighting, trying to breathe, and it just really hurt.
It was so bad, doctors weren't sure exactly what they were dealing with.
The community in northern Manitoba is scrambling to try to contain a mysterious illness tonight.
Mary Jane Harper was rushed by air ambulance to hospital in Winnipeg, to the intensive care unit, where a respirator took over.
I was trying my hardest to breathe on my own, but I just couldn't. And I was just staring at that machine that was right outside my room. It was really scary.
Then she went into a coma.
2 people right here at the St. Boniface Hospital. 2 adults are in critical condition.
Her mother, Josephine, was there.
And it was on the 2nd of June that we were told that she was very sick. They don't know why. They showed us her x-rays, and it looked very worse. It was all wet.
X-rays of her chest, which had been dark and healthy just hours before, were suddenly white with infection.
For a few days we didn't know whether we would lose her or not. It was very hard.
Support from 600 kilometers away, friends and relatives in St. Theresa Point kept her going.
They just kept calling us to tell us to cling on to the hope that she pulled through.
Days and then weeks passed. Mary Jane Harper finally came out of the coma to find her mother and sister crying next to her bed.
What did they tell you?
They told me that I was asleep for 2 weeks, over 2 weeks, or they told me that they almost lost me. that I was sick. I was really sick. They were just telling me what happened. I was really, really shocked.
Her boyfriend was also at the hospital, all of them confirming what Mary Jane already sensed.
I knew that baby was gone. But I had to ask. And they told me that baby didn't make it.
Health officials say it's influenza. Exactly what kind is
And we know that 2 pregnant women were flown here. One of those women has given birth to a baby boy. The other has miscarried.
The other pregnant woman was Mary Jane's cousin. Her baby survived, but she died from the swine flu.
I knew she had gone to a better place. That comforted me. And sometimes I would think, why am I still here?
It's taken months for Mary Jane to walk by herself again, to overcome painful feet and damaged nerves, to regain control of her body.
This is me when I sat up for the first time. It was really hard for me to sit up because I was almost falling this way and that way.
She needed the support of a walker and the support of her friends and family.
I'd like to think that maybe it's a lesson for all of us out here, how big of a family we are. And
she says there was another lesson for the community too. The swine flu can be a serious threat.
A lot tell me that they're getting vaccinated because of what happened to me.
People tell you that?
Granted, Jesus is my plea.
In fact, the story of Mary Jane Harper has pushed St. Theresa Point to confront this virus in a way few other communities have anywhere. So health workers use whatever resources they can, including community radio. There are only a handful of nurses here and a doctor who flies in.
We are still being very cautious about H1N1.
Head nurse Nellie Erickson repeats the message that's become mantra: hand washing, cough control, and protecting one another.
If you are either drinking or using illegal drugs, you don't make good decisions about cough etiquette and avoiding crowds, and you do bring sometimes your family, your children at risk.
And those children? Well, in Dora Mason's class at the high school, they're learning how to protect themselves the way their grandparents used to. Seneca root in a kind of wild mint. What is that?
Birch bark fungus.
Oh, and don't forget the Labrador leaf. Wow, you can really smell it.
Yeah.
Traditional medicine that's not only become part of the cultural curriculum here, but now part of this community's pandemic plan.
I've been giving my students every day to drink this medicine.
And it works.
And it works.
Never mind the taste, never mind that there's little scientific backing for this brew. The fact is, these students just don't see swine flu as much of a threat anymore.
Because we have those kind of medicines at home, so we're not worried that much.
As vulnerable as St. Theresa Point was the first time, it may well be the best prepared community in Canada now. Not just because of all the hand washing, the modern and traditional medicine, not just because many people developed an immunity from the first time the virus swept through this reserve. People here say the real inoculation is their determination not to be struck down again. Peter?
All right, Sasha, thanks very much. Beautiful sunset there.